What is poppin', y'all, everybody? Bailey Strasser here. Another episode of Wisco Sports Weekly, where today's episode we are going to do analysis on the first half of the Milwaukee Brewers season. This has been an interesting ride. April, they showed some things. But then, as soon as we got into the first half of the season, I was literally gonna say, this is going to be bad. You know, you couldn't have gotten off to a more worse start than what you already did. Nobody could hit. Nobody could do anything. We were really struggling. Some stupid fans were saying our pitching was the problem, but what can you do when we had no pitchers available at the start of the season? But now, as some people start to get healthy again and things slowly start to work their way back to what they were, we're starting to really see that things are starting to get better. I'm not entirely sure on how things are going to finish for the Milwaukee Brewers this season because, of course, we still have another 2.5 months to go. But obviously with where we're at now, I think that they're in a good spot. And honestly, what better spot can you be in when you, at one point in May, or whatever it was, you were 10 games behind the Cubs. 10 games behind the Cubs. Now we're only 1 game. Complete change of scenery. First off, let's talk about our division standings. Right now, in first place, right now they have the second, right now they would have the second best record in the NL, behind the Dodgers, who still have the number 1 despite having a bad skid. The Cubs are in first place in the NL Central right now. They would be the number 2 seed if that was the case and have a bye. The Brewers are a game behind. They are in second place. Despite trailing and really struggling in their first starts, they've really gotten it together and put themselves as a contender. Right now they have the third best record in the NL, which is actually a really great thing to see. Behind them are the Cardinals, a team that a lot of people thought were really going to rebuild this year, retool. That could be the possibility at the deadline, but right now, the Cardinals are still kind of considered in the running. They're not a majorly great team, but they can do things. And I feel the same thing with the Reds, who are also in 4th place. Them and the Cardinals are kind of really close, but the Reds are in 4th. And I exactly said the same thing about the Reds. They might be better this year, but there's still something that's going to make me say, and they're going to stay right here. They're not going to rise up to the competition. And of course, the last place is the Pittsburgh Pirates. I feel ultimately bad for Paul Skeens because honestly, he is literally one of the best pitchers in his second year of playing baseball. The guy is just a gem, and his record of 4-8 should not really say anything because let's be real, he is unbelievable and his team is failing him, and I just feel terrible. But other than that, the Brewers are just putting themselves in a position where they actually can dominate again. 56 wins before the All-Star break. That is a record in Brewers history. A record. For this point of the season, I would have never guessed a team that doesn't specialize on power hitters and power. They specialize on the little things. Defense, stealing bases, getting on base. The little things that really help you get well with the team. And they rely, again, on their pitching to do well enough to win them games. That is why the Brewers are super successful. They make sure if someone has a star year, they're obviously going to go and they're going to shoo them away. And they're going to get some young guys, and it's slow. And that's why they're going to still be relevant because they know what they're doing. They're getting the right pieces that can make them relevant for years to come. They did it with Corbin Burns 2 years ago. They did it with Devin Williams. Obviously, with the Corbin Burns trade, they got D.L. Hall, a guy that they're slowly trying to work as a starting pitcher. We don't know how that's going to work, but he's been pretty solid as a reliever. Then they got Joey Ortiz. He may be having a down year offensively, but they moved him to shortstop, and as of recently, his defense has been outstanding. So he started out a little slow defensively, but now he's really starting to catch on. He just has having a bad slump offensively this year. I hope he can maybe turn it around. That's the only downfall of the offense right now. And then, of course, we trade Devin Williams for Nestor Cortez, who only had 2 starts before suffering an injury. Now he is supposed to return. And Caleb Durbin, who really has been a huge surprise for how I thought he was going to be a good player, but he's actually done so well. He already has 3 walk-offs on the team this year. 3 walk-offs for a rookie. That is very impressive, including one just a couple days ago against the Nationals. A lot to say. And then Cortez, he only played 2 games, so I can't do an analysis on him before his injury, but he's in the rehab system. He's expected to be back, but we will see what happens. But the Brewers started themselves in a position where they didn't have any pitchers. Freddie Peralta was the only healthy guy at the very start of the season. Freddie Peralta is having the best season of his career. I think that by any means, he has the most, I think he almost has the most wins in his career. He's already got 11 wins. 11 wins already for Freddie Peralta. What a season he is having. He easily was selected as an all-star this year, and he's doing exactly what I expected him to do this season. Fortunately, this is the last season for the quality control, so unfortunately, I do believe that this will be Freddie Peralta's last season as a Brewer regardless. There were people obviously saying that this was trade talks or anything like that, but seeing the trend that they traded Burns, they traded Williams, and now with Peralta's in the same, they did it with Hader obviously the year before, and now with Peralta, it's like, yeah, Peralta's the next guy to go, obviously, but definitely he's putting his name in the consideration for that type of game. And then we didn't have a starting rotation. I mean, Cortez gets injured, Savale gets injured. Cortez literally has been out since. Savale came back, but because of all these younger guys stepping up and playing so well, they decided to move Savale to the bullpen. And then he threw a fit. He's like, I don't want to be here anymore. And we traded him to the White Sox for Andrew Vaughn, which I'll get to later. Other guys literally stepped in and got some playing time. They got Chad Patrick, who they traded for 2 years ago. He's been a phenomenal pitcher for the Brewers. Now, because of now that we don't have room for him anymore, they did have to send him back down, which I understand. They also traded for Quinn Priester, who was actually having a great season. This is a guy who was a number one. He was a top pick about 5 years ago, and he struggled, but he's really turned it around with the Brewers so far. Another guy, Logan Henderson, got 4 starts, all fantastic. His debut, most strikeouts for a rookie in Brewers history for a debut. I hope we get to see him again soon. I don't know how that will happen, but he's definitely a future guy. A couple other guys kind of got filled in, but they're not on the team right now because they're not that good. But again, there were some guys that really stepped in and got the job done. Tobias Myers, he was a huge cornerstone last year. He was our best pitcher last year because of his injury, at the start of the season, and because of other people really doing better. He's been down in AAA because we don't have room for him. I mean, that's just what's crazy about this. I mean, and I get Tobias Myers hasn't been the greatest this season, and that's why they sent him down, which was a reasonable choice. But you got to understand, he'll be back next year for sure. I think an oblique injury isn't, you're going to not be the same. And then they also signed Jose Quintana, who's also been a great addition to this team. Someone I've been wanting the Brewers to go after for so long. And finally, he's on our team, and because he always killed us every time we played him. And now, boom, he's on our team, so that's definitely a great thing. And then they just got Brandon Woodruff back. I mean, Brandon Woodruff, he hasn't pitched in 2 years. He played 2 starts. And he posted 10 strikeouts in both of those games. I mean, it's like he's back. Yes, he gives up home runs, but that's his kryptonite because he's a fastball guy. But I am excited for what we have. I mean, we got Peralta, Woodruff, Quintana. Priester's really doing well enough to be a starter. Cortez is coming back soon. That's 5. But here's an issue. We have another guy that entered the chat. A rookie phenom pitcher by the name of Jacob Mizorowski. 5 starts. 5 starts it took for the committee to go, he's an all-star. That never happens. Skeens had that record last year with 11 games, and he became an all-star and became the starter. Mizorowski did it in 5 games. They saw how good Mizorowski was and said, this guy deserves to be an all-star immediately. They don't do that with rookies like that. I mean, Skeens got all the hype last year, and I get why, but the fact that they're really making it for Mizorowski, the stuff that he's doing is absolutely unbelievable. His first 11 innings of baseball, no hitter. He even had a perfect game going until in his second game, up until he did allow a home run and then had to be taken out. But again, Mizorowski has the showings of a future star. He outdueled Paul Skeens in a game. Now, again, he did get a loss against the Mets, but again, I'm not mad about that because, quite frankly, you're going to lose some games from time to time. But then I went to a game with my amazing girlfriend to see the Dodgers because I said it was our 2-year anniversary, and I was like, we're going to go to a game, and it happened to be Mizorowski versus Kershaw. And he struck out 12 Dodgers, the most times Dodger players have ever been struck out in the history of baseball. This guy put on a clinic and gave out one of the best single-handed performances I have ever seen. This guy is going to be the real deal. I was thinking when people come back, he was going to be probably moved to the bullpen and they were going to do the same treatment that they did with Corbin Burns. But the guy is already clearly showing he deserves to be a starter. They're already saying he should be an all-star. I've never seen a guy get this much hype in my life in Brewers history. And I'm happy for the guy. Now, I feel like personally, any fan would probably say it should be someone who has been in the league for a long time to get the spot. And yeah, I agree. But the fact is, this guy, people are coming to the Brewer game to actually watch this guy. I mean, our starting rotation right now is good enough to win games. The only kryptonite right now is the offense. Do we have a good enough offense to win us games? Yeah, because our pitching is very good. We also have a good, solid bullpen. They're not the dynamite that we had with Devin Williams and Josh Hader closing out games in 2021. It's not that. We have a good enough bullpen. Trevor McGill is our closer once again after we traded Devin Williams. Trevor McGill, who ended up being closer for the first half of the season last year, is the closer once again. And the gas man is really doing another good job. 21 saves already on the season. I think he only has like 2 losses. Maybe he'll hit 10 to 10. You're gonna blow a save. That's just common. But he really hasn't been bad this season. You know what? There are times but he has been solid. And it's like every single season, the Brewers seem to generate a good closer every single year. They know they're not going to afford the next guy, and they keep moving on. Every year, they did it with Kolb, Turnbow, Hoffman, Axford, Cordero. I'm trying to think of all the people that they had. Rodriguez, Jeffress, Knable, Hader, Williams, and now McGill. And honestly, Uribe is going to probably be in that conversation soon because he's also having a great season as well. We have good relievers. We have a lot of good relievers. Mears and Koenig as well. Ashby got converted to a reliever, and he's been on fire too. Obviously, he was a guy that was supposed to be a former starting pitcher, but ever since they brought him back as a reliever last year into this year, he's been dynamite as well. We really have a good relief system, and it's very good to see that they're really starting to come together as a full pitching unit. They're good. It's a good system, and I like it. The only kryptonite on this team is we don't have power hitters. Right now, the MVP of our offense is Christian Yelich. He is having the best season that he has had since 2019. 19 home runs, I think 60-something RBIs. That's pretty much I think high up there with a lot of other people. But the RBIs, I mean. But Yelich is actually doing things that we haven't seen for a while. He's actually hitting with power. It's really nice to see. Last year, he managed to have the best batting average in baseball for a while. and he was getting on base really well. But he's doing a lot of the stuff that we kind of really thought he was going to do. But the thing is, he's the only guy that really is the one mashing any home runs. Chourio is, I guess, the next guy, but he's young. I don't want to expect too much out of him. But again, someone else has got to come in there, and I think for sure they're going to obviously make some trades going into next season. Chourio also is very close to doing 2020 once again. He broke that, closer to the end of the season, but he's very close to breaking it again. I think he has 16 home runs and 16 stolen bases, so he's pretty close to already breaking that again, which is a great feat to do at 21 years old. And he's got a future. We know that. He's going to be great. I'm excited to see what Chourio can do. Chourio and Yelich are basically the offense. But some people are having down years. We expected Ortiz to really break out. He's having a down year. We expected Garrett Mitchell, after that clutch home run in the playoffs, to have a breakout year. Unfortunately, suffers a season-ending shoulder injury. Suffers an oblique injury, and then injures his same shoulder he got surgery on 2 years ago that forces him to miss the season. That's brutal. Hoskins, also, we expected him to really have a better year. He is having a better year, but unfortunately, he just recently suffered an injury that's going to keep him out until August. Sal Frelick and Bryce Terrain, two defensive gems, are also having amazingly offensive years. They're not power hitters, but they're getting on base and doing the little things, and their defenses are both outstanding. And they are two of the best, and they really expected them to really rise up. They're doing some great things, but they're not power hitters. Also, Andrew Vaughn, who they just traded for. He's actually having the best start for a Brewer ever. He was awful with the White Sox. But this reminds me of the same exact situation that Willy Adames was in 2021. We traded for Willy Adames because Willy was having a bad year for Tampa Bay Rays because they had Wander Franco coming in for all that crap happened with them. We traded for Willy, and Willy turned it around immediately in Milwaukee. We're seeing the exact same thing with Andrew Vaughn. It's very similar. He's having the best start. He should get the Player of the Week. I would be shocked if he didn't. 2 home runs and 10 RBIs in the 5 games that he played with Brewers so far is just beyond outstanding to me. But yeah, this is great to really see. The hope is that's, Hoskins comes back soon. We could actually, if Vaughn does well enough, we might actually trade Hoskins. That could be actually very beneficiary. And unfortunately, Sal Frelick suffered an injury to his hamstring yesterday, which Murphy was not real happy about, so I hope he's okay. I'm thinking it's going to be an IL trip maybe for a week or something. It would be retrospective to yesterday. I hope that they just give him some time off. So I guess it was a nagging injury, but I hope it's not going to be something that will keep him out for the rest of the way and really, really downplay him. It would not be right. Perkins is also coming back, so definitely that's some good defense to really have. Collins has really stepped up because of the injuries, and he's done really well enough to really maintain that role. But we have some young guys out there, And Contreras, I would say Contreras is having a down year, but he's starting to really do more offensively now. Our offense is our Achilles heel. But with some flaws, there is room for redemption. Third base and shortstop's our weakness. Most likely, I think because Caleb Durbin's doing so well, I hope that they teach him how to play shortstop because, quite frankly, he's good enough where he should be on the field. We do need a third baseman that's a power hitter because that is our weakness. Or we could use an outfielder that's our power hitter and then that could be different. They are going to have to trade for a bat. Maybe a young guy, maybe a newer guy. I don't know what's going to happen. They were linked to some guys from the Red Sox, but now that they're on a big winning streak, I don't think the Red Sox are going to trade anybody. I think they're going to now be the team that everyone expected them to be. There's a lot to be said. I think the Brewers, if they want to contend with the Cubs, they're going to have to do these things. And anything can happen. Anything can happen. We have a lot of baseball to be played. As soon as we get back to the deadline, it's going to be the trade deadline. We're going to be talking about what the Brewers can do. Last year, they weren't really able to do much because the price for a lot of the people that were getting traded were so high. We ended up with Savale, Montas, and Mears. That was the best they could do because of the market. But we'll see what happens this year. I think you just gotta start. You gotta start smart. We'll see what happens. Something could be brewing. Something is brewing, and I believe in the Brewers for sure. So if you like what you see, subscribe below, comment your thoughts, and as always, we will see you next time. Go Brewers!